Welcome back to Better Than a Pill. Today, I'm so excited to have guest John Graham Harper on today. And John Graham is a certified master trainer. He's a speaker, a fitness professional with 15 years of experience in the fitness industry. He's the founder of John Graham Fitness. He's a renowned golf academy director at Mission Hills. And he is a leader in fitness technology and has collaborated on popular video series for home workouts and boxing tutorials. And John's personal journey through competitions and training exposed him to injuries. And so this fueled his quest to optimize injury prevention and recovery methods. And during this pursuit, he discovered the benefits of red light therapy while recovering from a knee injury. So this led to the creation of Lumaflex, and this is a game-changing, flexible, portable device that we're going to talk about today and so on. So I'm so excited for you to be here. Welcome, John.
Thank you. That's a nice introduction. That's very sweet. Thank you so much.
Absolutely. And like I said, I'm so excited to learn more about this red light therapy today and for everybody else to be that's listening to learn as well. And so I know I touched a little bit on your journey, but I'd love to hear a little bit more about your personal experience with this.
Yeah, I mean, I started, um, I guess everybody starts their fitness career in different ways. I was a little bit aggressive with sport. I wanted to always compete in anything I did. So when I played rugby, I played competitive rugby and I blew out both my shoulders, which wasn't a very didn't mean it just meant that I couldn't be playing rugby anymore. So I went into CrossFit. I got into competitive CrossFit, and that's when I had some knee injuries. Probably the worst injury that I sustained was actually my left knee. So I stopped that for a bit, but I still want to compete. So I got into boxing, and I was doing amateur boxing, getting hit in the head a lot, and a few years down the line, my started to have very severe headaches. I went into the hospital, and my doctor saw I had a tumor in my head, which he said was caused by micro traumas to my nose, which created a tumor in my head. So I had to have the tumor removed, and he told me not to do any combat sports again. But from there I went into bodybuilding for a little bit, but I kind of lost interest because I didn't really feel that there was a rivalry. But yeah, lots of injuries throughout my career as a competitive athlete. But the left knee injury was the one that really hurt me the most, because I think just not being able to walk, not being able to exercise and sort of reach my full potential really drained me. So if I was sitting in a position for longer than say 10, 15 minutes, the knee would really start to hurt. It became very unbearable pain, right? And of course, when the weather was getting cold, it would flare up as well. So it was very kind of almost like arthritis. I think it was something that my mother always had bad knees as well, which would flare up during the cold months. But yeah, it was very debilitating. And my wife, who was Chinese, this was a good 6, 7 years ago. She introduced me to this lamp. It was like a very ugly, cumbersome lamp that you had a very large weight at the bottom, and I would have to move this lamp. It was very tough to use, and it was very ugly. It had a very large red bulb, and she said, "Put this lamp, like aim it at your knee, and do this every day for 20 minutes, and your knee will heal up." And I thought that the heat was actually the therapy that my knee was getting, because the lamp would get really hot. It would get extremely hot. And I would play this game where I would like bring the knee close to the lamp, but then it would get really hot that I'd have to move it away. And then I'd try to get close to the lamp again to get the therapy. But because I just thought it was the heat. But later I found out that it was actually the light. It was the red light. It was my mitochondria getting healed. But yeah, after a week, I didn't have any pain. And the reason I knew I didn't have any pain was because in that seated position that I would always be in, that would, meant that taking taxis or flying on a plane was actually very difficult because it would get so sore. But I wasn't having that pain by being in that seated position. So after the second week, I just stopped using it. I didn't need it anymore. And even to this day, right now, I don't. If ever I do some sort of exercise or a run or a heavy squat, or if I do, feel that the knee is a little bit injured, I will put the Lumaflex, the panel on it, and after 10 minutes, I'm fine. So I've got it, I'm fully recovered. I consider myself completely recovered. But that is what sort of started the journey into red light therapy and what brought about the Lumaflex, which is the world's #1 portable, flexible, durable, waterproof red light therapy panel. So it's mainstreaming red light therapy. Like I have, given all the injuries that I had in my career, and just looking at what red light therapy and how it is used in sport, and how the active audience accesses red light therapy, there was nothing really portable. There was nothing that was easily to access, right? It would usually, you would have to drive to a clinic, you would have to use a large device that you'd have to maybe rent time on a bed, or in a sort of like a tanning, it's like a tanning bed, but there's ones where you lay down, then there's ones where you sit. But there wasn't anything very accessible. It didn't seem like red light therapy. It seemed like very difficult to get your hands on it. So I wanted to make something that was not too big, but still had a large amount of surface area. So it still stayed portable. And it was something that you can just have in your gym bag. So this is a silicone panel, so it's extremely strong. You can drive a car over this, it won't break. We've done, I think 20 to 30 kgs worth of pressure testing on these handles so they don't break. And this is where you wrap around to put the panel in different positions. So it's a silicone panel that's flexible, so it molds to joints and muscles, which is extremely important with red light therapy. You want to maximize the amount of treatment that you get to an affected area. You want all the light. You don't want the light to be bouncing off, right? So if I show you now, if I turn it on, so you long press, and then here it is. That is the panel. It's pretty bright, right? But you can see, if you put the panel, you can see the light is all going into my body, right? Into that affected area that's sore. But the moment you bring the panel away, the room lights up here. And that's kind of where you lose a lot of the treatment. You lose a lot of the light, it bounces and ricochets off. So a flexible panel is really, really important if you're looking at a portable device. And this is the Lumaflex Body Pro. It's like our flagship product, and it's fully waterproof. So you can be underwater and it'll still work. But yeah, that's kind of where it all came from back, when I was competing as an athlete, and sort of seeing, all the troubles that I went through with my injuries, and I just looking at what was available in the world in terms of red light therapy. And I saw, like, really there was nothing very that made red light therapy accessible. It just seemed so difficult to get this treatment, and I figured, like, what makes this treatment so wonderful, where we really see the game-changing effects, is if we're able to have it every day. We're able to have it when we want it every single day. So that's kind of, yeah, that's sort of the long story short, you could say, of my journey in red light therapy.
I love this. I love it. I love this stuff. I've got tons of questions and my mind is running right now because I'm just like, wow, another tool that can be helpful for somebody to prevent pain and injury. This is awesome. I love your story. Yeah, you have been through the gamut. You picked some hardcore stuff, rugby, boxing. Oh, by the way, this is kind of funny that not everybody knows this about me, but I did play rugby in college. I was a dance minor and I had to stop dancing. So I get it.
Wow.
And I'll tell
Wow.
you that. And I'm not,
Wow.
yeah. So, and here's the funny thing about rugby is they don't even cover, insurance doesn't cover rugby injuries, you know, because it's such a rough
Yes.
sport. So,
Yeah.
so yeah, I've seen some things with that, but yeah, so you've been through a lot, and I think it's incredible that your wife was the one that brought this device out. And for those of you that are listening that didn't see, what John did is he turned on his device and a big red beam is what's shining. So that's what you began using. You had no idea, right? No
Yeah.
idea. Yeah. And
I
then
thought it was the heat, and
Mhm.
I didn't know it was the light. I thought it was heat, because Asians, like Chinese, they're all about heat therapy, right? Whereas in the West, we use cold therapy. You know, if somebody has an injury, we will put ice on it. We're about cold therapy, but Chinese, it's all heat therapy. They have these, these oils or like Tiger Balm, right?
Right.
Everybody's using Tiger Balm. Their necks and ear, they're always using heat, as a treatment, right?
Yeah. So the light is what was doing it for your knee, and and I think that's awesome. You've been able to get recovery, no more pain, and if you do have discomfort coming on, it sounds like you go to the portable device now, and it
Yeah,
doesn't take like long, like 5 or 10 minutes, and you know,
that's it.
yeah. Well, this is incredible. I want to understand. So tell me and everybody listening today a little bit more about the science behind this stuff. Like what's going on? How does this red light therapy work in our bodies?
Yeah, so the easiest way that I like to explain it to people that are still sort of, they're just getting their feet wet with light and all the benefits of light, and not just natural light, but also artificial light, and how we can also bring in natural light, but also push away artificial light, because artificial light is also not very good for us. But that's something that as you get better at at light therapy and understanding all the benefits that it provides, you start to also want to block your artificial light. So I actually usually at night, or if I'm ever in an environment where there's a lot of artificial light, I'll usually wear blue light blockers. It's like these blue or red or glasses that really help, and you'll find that you're more calm. You have you don't have as many headaches. This is something that was very, at least for me, was understanding like the good light that also getting rid of the bad light. But red light, the best way to I like to explain it is it's available to us when the sun rises and the sun set. Like this is the time when the wavelengths of light are at the right length to be able to penetrate your skin and activate your mitochondria. The mitochondria is the powerhouse of the cell. It's the engine of the cell, right? So if we're giving energy, we're giving light, we're giving energy to the mitochondria, the cell is able to do its job. And so that could be that there's three mechanisms. So synthesizing energy is one, anti-inflammation is the other, and then blood circulation is the third. So these three mechanisms, the light being able to do this with our mitochondria being able to achieve this, it accounts for a huge amount of benefits that we get. That comes to growing hair, or boosting collagen in your skin, or boosting your body's natural SPF levels, or de-stressing you, boosting your body's testosterone. Like there's a lot of benefits that we get through these mechanisms, but at the end, the light is basically giving our cells energy, right? It's mitochondria treatment. So a lot of times when we have an injury, like say like a shoulder injury, I would always do massages. I would get like deep heat oil, or I would put ice on it, right? And I would sort of treat the issue, but not, we would just, it's on the surface area. But what the light is doing is treating the issue on a cellular level. So that's sort of a simple way to understand it. And it's a good sort of first step into getting deep into the weeds of not just what red light therapy is, but also all the other spectrums of light and all the benefits that they have. But where we see a lot of clinical research, a lot of clinical studies that support light therapy is in the red and infrared. So with devices like mine's is a class 2, FDA class 2. It's a FDA listed product because it's red and infrared. So other devices that have other spectrums of light, not red and infrared, they can't really claim an FDA class. Like they can't have an FDA listed product because it's all the clinical studies are in red and infrared. So this is this is a FDA class 2 device, so it's a listed FDA product. And actually, while I'm on that, this product is Time Magazine #1 invention for wellness for 2023. And I guess that's just because again, it's just very, very portable. It's allowing red light therapy to be very, very accessible. But we also won the ISPO award, and we're nominated for the Edison's award as well. But yeah, it's about getting this light, these wavelengths of light, the light that is at that right measure to be able to, again, treat your mitochondria and have that targeted to those specific areas that are hurting. You got a sore neck, right? So we're going to target that area. We're doing localized treatment, right? You got a sore chest, you target that specific area. Does that make sense?
Wow. Yeah, no, that does make sense. What I'm hearing is that it is a working at the cellular level, mitochondria. It's different. It's not like manual work, but yet effective in a different sense, which really makes sense. And so I am curious. The things that are coming to my mind is what is the difference between red light and infrared? And it sounds like the Lumaflex that you've created. By the way, congratulations, you've won those awards. This is a good product. This is awesome, right? What is the difference? And I'm just going to share, like for me right now, I use a sauna blanket, and that has, just from my understanding, the infrared, but I don't think it has the red light. And so I'm curious to understand the difference, the crossover, kind of break that down for me and everybody else listening today a little bit.
Yeah, red. So nanometers? The difference is the nanometers. So the Lumaflex has red light at 630 nanometers. So that's surface, that's like skin. That's like skin treatments. That's like wound healing. Like where did red light therapy actually first, sort of get interest was NASA scientists. They were using red light therapy to grow plants, but then they started to realize that the abrasions on their hands were starting to heal. So they were like, what? Our wounds are healing, and we're at an accelerated rate. If you're in a car accident, or you've had a nasty fall, or you've got some deep cuts and wounds, most credible hospitals will give you some form of red light therapy to accelerate your wound healing. So red light is surface, right? It's helping your wounds heal, and that's boosting your body's natural collagen, right? So that's also the anti-aging, right? Where we see the LED masks, that are very popular now on TikTok, with all the ladies wearing these LED masks to look pretty. That's very, very surface, right? But infrared, you actually can't see the light. So when I shine that panel, and when you are looking at most of the devices, this is red light. If I were to just turn off the red and show you the infrared, you wouldn't see anything. Infrared, you can't see it, right? And sometimes devices, they'll have it to where, like, with the app, I can actually program it so I can turn off the red and just have the infrared. And it looks like nothing's on, right? But the infrared goes for the Lumaflex is 650. The nanometers are much deeper. So this is where we're going into into deep joint pain and chronic pain, arthritis, right? Sciatica. A good friend of mine who was in the military, he was a sniper, and he was cleaning a tank at the bottom of the tank, and the gun fell on his back, and he has been plagued with horrible pain with sciatica for a number of years. And I've given him a device because we're very, very close friends. And for the last couple of months, he's been using it, and his pain has been completely gone. So this is where infrared can really do damage in the world in terms of like relieving serious pain. Chronic pain is the nanometers of light that are able to go deeper into the muscle tissue, right? To go deeper into the joints and help with these very, very chronic, debilitating pain. So the difference is in the nanometers, more surface and then deeper, right? So this is 630 and 850. Those are the 2 nanometer wavelengths of light that we have for red and infrared.
Okay. And so the light that you were using originally, let's say when you went back to the light that your wife gave you for your knee, that had a combination of the red and infrared as well.
Yeah, that device, I have to track it down and find out where it is, because I've done that, I told this story I was on a documentary for an Amazon Prime about biohacking, and they interviewed me about my story, about and then, I went in detail about all my pain, all the injuries that I did and all the pain that I had, being an athlete. But they asked me, they were like, where is that lamp? Right. And I was like, man, I have to find where that is, because I know it's probably, it's at one of the family homes or something. But from what I remember, it was very old. It was a very, very old device. So was it like red and near infrared? I want to go check, but I think it was probably just red. It was probably just red. And I probably just, it was like maybe it couldn't have just been infrared, but so it probably was just red light. But I want to find the thing and be like, oh, this is I finally tracked it down. But yeah, I'm curious about what the nanometers were for that old one.
Right. And so like in my mind, so I'm thinking, so the red light you describe as being surface, but yet
Yeah.
it can go deeper if it can help your knee.
Yeah, well, yeah, it could probably go deep, but probably not that deep.
Okay.
It depends. It all depends on the injury. But I would imagine that like it it was maybe a combination of red and infrared. But
Okay.
yeah, it was such a hot bulb. It was like very, very large. So but
Okay.
it's funny, I've had this conversation before as well for this documentary, but we'll see.
Yeah.
But generally speaking, yes, infrared is joint muscle pain,
Okay.
joint chronic pain, and even deep muscle pain as well. Like if you're, if you imagine like your parents, and like for me, for my dad, it was always his neck. He's always like, oh, it's my neck again. It's like
Yeah.
a pain that's been going on for years and years and
Yeah.
years and years, and he's got it from college, basketball, or for my dad, he was playing hockey. He was a hockey player. So he's always there's these injuries that have, been with us for so long. That's where infrared can, I think, really, give almost, complete relief after 10 minutes, some cases, and then maybe 10 minutes every day for a week or 10 minutes every day for 2 weeks. We can see like complete relief from these pains, these debilitating pains. I've had them in my family, obviously my wife's family, and then I'm sure everybody, we all know, have that uncle or our grandparents or our dad or our mom that is always complaining about serious pain. But that's where infrared can really take over and get them off pills. And I love the sound of this podcast that you have. Like that's something that's a good message, right? It's a good start off kickoff message to always be looking for natural, non-invasive means of treatment, before jumping into pills or something that could perhaps lead you down a much darker path, because you don't know the side effects or of what's going to happen when you start taking pills and you're dependent on these pills, right? For finding relief from pain.
Exactly. And so why not go try things as much as we can that are natural, whatever they might be. And so this is
Yes.
so that so it sounds like let me ask you this. If like the Lumaflex, it's a combination obviously of the red light and the infrared, so it can work at surface and also go deep. Um and if so let's take some examples. If somebody like I'm just curious myself, I have a tear, a slight tear in a rotator cuff muscle. And wondering how would that be effective for a small tear? Yeah. Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Absolutely. Yeah, if you're having like if something that, even if you've had a pain like this or an issue like this for a long time, that's something that I think that's where you need to address the problem like on a cellular level. Like it's,
Okay.
massages and creams and are not going to work anymore. You have to start like you're looking at a cellular level, even if it is a component like to other treatments that you may do for your doctor. It should be added in there in some way, shape, or form, right? It should be involved in some way in your recovery.
Okay. And so we've got like the level of the muscle. So like for muscle related things, like even like the tear example, what about it sounds like it would be helpful for joint pain, like all arthritis, right?
Yes,
Type issues. Okay.
absolutely.
Excellent. Okay, that's awesome.
Absolutely.
That's awesome. And back pain, even different types of whether it's bone related or muscle. It can be effective for the back issues. Yeah.
Yes. One of the
Okay.
most common conditions that in America, if someone walks into a hospital and they say, I need to be checked or I need to have surgery or I have an issue, the most common condition is back pain, lower back
Yeah.
pain.
100%.
It's,
I see that a lot. And a lot of people I work with have the back pain, and a lot of people have the arthritis too, which is what I'm, inquiring about. And the other thing I'm curious because I see a lot of feet related issues and both muscular but also joint related. So like an example for me is I have what's called tarsal coalitions where I'm missing a joint, which can cause pain in the joint, not the muscle,
Okay,
you
I
know?
see.
So curious as to, I wonder, because, there's only so much we can do movement wise, like if infrared or the combination of red light and infrared would be effective, you know? It's bringing
Absolutely. Yeah.
these thoughts up, right?
Yes, definitely. I would love to challenge any condition like this or anything related like that. Definitely, I would love to challenge red light therapy as something you could, could really, really help to relieve it, right? There's a I have access to a global Excel, which is all these clinical studies that have been done on red and infrared light. And we're talking like it's like 9 to 11,000 different studies, right? And I have the all the doctors in light therapy and photobiomodulation, everyone has access to this Excel. It's a reference that we use for conditions. So someone, brings up a condition like, oh, red light therapy and hearing or hearing loss, and you type it in and it will have a study about that specific condition and how red light therapy, it'll provide a study on it. And to date, it's been pretty, I've been researching the most random things, and there's always a study that shows that, improvement is derived from using red light therapy in most of these cases, most of these situations.
And so like even like you're using the word like red light, is that also like incorporate infrared? Is that how it's spoken about, or are they kept separate, or is infrared really red light just at a different nanometers, what I'm hearing kind of?
Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah,
okay,
it's a different
okay,
nanometer. It's
okay,
very, very different. And if usually in branding or when you're communicating your product or you're communicating a clinical study, usually you should make it very clear, red and near infrared. Like it should be very, very clear. But usually in conversation or in text or sometimes in articles, or blog posts or, social media, usually people just say red light therapy, red light therapy. And it's kind of, it lumps together also infrared. And most
okay,
people, if they know the brand or they know the product, they know the doctor or they know the context, usually they know, oh, they also mean infrared. Like it isn't
okay.
just about, surface treatment. It's also about, the infrared and the benefits we get from that much deeper nanometer, right?
Right. And so like there are clinics or places that people can go and they are separate. Like they might just get the red light therapy at the skin level. And then there are places people can go where they're going just for the infrared. And then there's combination locations. And then we're talking about your device, which is the advantage of being portable, so you don't have to go anywhere, right? Which is
Yes, that's right.
really, really
Yeah.
awesome. And yours, will it separate the red light so you could just use the red light if you wanted? Okay. Yeah, to tell us a little
Yeah.
bit about that. Yeah, I'd
On
love to
the
hear
app.
that. Okay.
Yeah, so on
Okay.
the app,
Okay.
if you want, you can just pick whichever one. You can pick the red or infrared. Yeah.
Okay.
What the benefit of the red light, obviously is the obviously the color, right? Like, when, we all, red and infrared. So, okay, during sunrise and sunset, when we wake up, when the sun rises, when we go to sleep, when the sun sets, that's our circadian rhythm, right? So a lot of our people are off their circadian rhythm, and this leads to anxiety, depression, all these other, negative side effects, just because you're not, as creatures of light, we were born under the light, we were supposed to wake up when the sun rises and the sunset. That's written into our, our DNA, into our biology.
Yeah.
That's what we're supposed to have. But it's not always easy to access sunrise, right? It doesn't mean we can't, oh, it's sunrise time, go outside and like, where's the sunrise? Usually we're in cities, or maybe there's a little bit of pollution, there's a bit of smog. If you're 30 degrees away from the equator, there is no, basically there's no sunrise. So usually the Lumaflex is my sunrise. So when I wake up, I turn on the device and I have it like a lamp, right? That's a great benefit for the red light is getting,
Mm.
is basically getting my circadian rhythm started, because maybe I'm not able to go. I'm in a hotel. Like right now, I'm in a hotel on the 37th floor. So I'm like, oh, in order to get sunrise, I need to wake up, go downstairs. Like I'd have to, it'll be a bit of a mission, right? Just to be able to go and see the sunlight. So usually I turn on the device to be able to get my red and infrared, get my circadian started, right? But that's another benefit to also the red light is actually the light itself to, that we need as human beings, like to start our circadian rhythm. It's, have you heard of these SAD lamps? That seasonal, what's it called? Seasonal active disorder. Like it's that period of time during the year when you don't have access to sun. So
Yes.
people get depressed. They feel
Yes.
sad. They're like, I don't like my life or whatever, right? And
Mhm.
that's actually a condition. So they buy sad lamps, and that's all that sad lamps are. It's giving you light, right, to make you feel better. So that's actually a legit, it's talked about a lot. And it's something that maybe if depending on where you live in the world, you don't quite understand it. But yes, 30 degrees away from the equator, it's actually a legitimate condition. People feel miserable when, it's like this time of year when it's, starting to get colder. There's not as much sun. You open the curtain and you're like, oh, there's no sun. It's just cold. It's smoggy, and you get depression, right? You start to
Mhm.
get depressed.
Yeah.
So that's something that it's great to have a device, some sort of red and infrared light, device in your house just to be able to combat that, just to use as a lamp, right? To get
Mm.
to get you feeling good, right? To help your mental health, right?
Yeah.
So that's something that a lot of people don't use. That yes, it is a treat. Obviously, the Lumaflex is a treatment device. It's something that is used for localized. You can target specific areas, but I just use it as a lamp at times, like a sad lamp, just to wake up in the day, right? And I want to, I have my sunrise and my sunset in my room. I don't have to go outside.
I love that. So the red light simulates the light that we would get, the good light from the sun, and you can do it in the morning as well as in the evening. So can do it twice a day. How long would you need to do that to get benefits
Like
from it?
15 minutes, maybe 20 minutes. Usually took 20 minutes, usually is what I do. I'll wake up and I'll turn on and have it like the whole room light up for at least 20 minutes. It starts your circadian rhythm. It's like, okay, I'm up now. I want to get this my sunrise, right? If you are able to, it's actually a really something that I would highly recommend to anybody who is suffering from any kind of, mental, you just okay, without even being too dramatic, if you're just not motivated, right? If you're
Mhm.
just not a motivated person, you have a bit of anxiety, you have a bit of depression. I would challenge you that if you wake up and watch the sunrise, if you make the effort to go outside, find a place where you see a sunrise, I will tell you right now that day that you watch the sunrise will be a good day. And after that day, do it again. And maybe don't do it every single day of the week. Don't pressure yourself, but do it like 2 or 3 times a day. There's really something magical that's written into our DNA to watch the sunrise, right? To
Mhm.
get this time of the day when we get this particular kind of light, we as human beings, like we as creatures of light, we respond very well to that. So I would challenge anybody that is, if it's just try it. I mean, how hard can it be? You maybe have to wake up a little bit earlier than you normally would, but you can always go back to bed after you've watched the sunrise. I mean, that's fine. But it's something that I have told to countless number of people. And when the person that is someone that very, very close to me is my father, I told him to do this, and he's loving his life now. It's something that he's thriving,
Mm.
and I'm just wake up in the morning, watch the sunrise. Like, just let's do this. Let's see how many times we can do it per week. And when you start doing it, you get addicted to it and you love this feeling. You love watching the sunrise. And it's something about, how we were wired as human beings and how we respond to the light that comes when we sunrise. It's a very magical thing that I would encourage everybody to try.
Yeah, no, that makes sense to me. And well, right there, that's God's creation. There's beauty in on multiple levels, right? And so like, but with the red light, if you can't watch the sunrise or sunset, you simulate this indoors, and it has a similar effect. Yes, is what, right?
That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what are some? So we have so like you could use the light, and if the light's on, can you be doing other things like if you're in quiet time and reading or you want to stretch if it's at night can you have the light on and still get benefit if you're doing other things?
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean,
Okay.
it has a calming effect, right? And also using the red. light, so there is actually there's a performance boost benefit as well. So there's a lot of clinical studies that show that you as a human being, your performance in whatever it is that you're doing is better, up to 40% better when you have red light therapy. So if you are doing some kind of stretching or exercise or meditation, you will perform better when you're exposed to red light therapy. The thing though is that, like, say when I communicate this to gym goers, right? Gym rats, we call them,
Hmm.
right?
Hmm.
And I'm saying, like, if you are like, say you're doing a squat, a heavy squat, and your weight that you can lift is at here. If you use red light therapy on your legs, you'll be able to lift here. But it's not so feasible because putting the device on your legs, it's not so comfortable. It's sort of, there's a lot of other sort of mental and environmental blockers that kind of can contradict that what is done in the laboratory in terms of red light therapy. But so you have to sort of see, like, like when you say, you're meditating or you're stretching and you have the device facing you, it's not necessarily on you, then yes, there'll be a performance boost. But the Lumaflex is designed to actually be able to be on the body, but it's not, the performance boosting sort of feature that I try to encourage. It's hard to get a response on this because you do have to wear it, right? So, if you're doing shoulder press and you have to put it on your shoulder, it's not comfortable to wear. So the brain is thinking about the discomfort of the device on the shoulder versus the amount of, focusing on the shoulder exercise, right? So,
Right.
but it is in the laboratory under those perfect conditions. It does, provide a substantial boost in performance. So I would encourage, if you're able to use it as much as possible, for meditation, for quiet time, have it on your back, have it on your chest. I call this the Iron Man. I stick it, in the collar of my shirt like that. And it just sits there. And that's something I do, throughout the day. There's a 10-minute timer built into the battery. So throughout the day, 10 minutes at a time, I may put it there just for that overall well-being effect, just to help keep me awake, keep me more centered, de-stressed, right? Focused. I find that it really helps me with that.
That's awesome. You've given us some great tips already on how to use the device. What are some other things you could recommend for like specifics, like if somebody wants to put it on their knee or back throughout the day? What are some other tips like on how to use it?
So wake up in the morning, right? Wake up in the morning and I want to do some targeted red light therapy. I will do my forehead, right? For cognitive energy and focus, right? So I'm giving my brain, the cells in my brain, I'm getting them charged up. I'll do my hair, right? Because I'm going a little bit bald, right? I can see it. I
Right.
can feel.
Gotcha.
So I'll go there. And then I will do the back of my neck, right? I'll do my stomach and then I'll do my chest. These areas are the big key areas that I do, regardless of the pain that I have. If I don't have any pain, I will do those areas at least twice every single day. But if you got a
Wow.
pain, like say the shoulder, for example, I will wrap it on the shoulder and I may do 10 minutes, with the built-in timer. I may do that up to 4 to 5 times throughout the day. And then for
Okay.
muscle pain, because I use red light therapy a lot, if I do sort of an aggressive sparring session, or if I do a big, some crazy workout, I'm motivated and I'm like, you know what, I'm gonna go, turn the gym upside down here in the hotel, right? So I go in there and I work out really hard. If I do the treatment that night, if I on the areas, I will not feel sore the next day. I have none of that delayed onset muscle soreness. I don't have that anymore. Muscle pain is something that my body has become very, very accustomed to healing. It's very,
Okay.
very easy to heal. So
Yeah.
more the joint pain, that deep joint pain, like where you get it in your neck or in your lower back, right? Your shoulders, your knees, right? Especially the lower back. That's kind of where, if I meet somebody that has that issue, I'll say 10 minutes 4 times a day and do it every single day and call me in 2 weeks and let's give me a pain rating, from 1 to 10. How much has it gone down? That's
Okay.
usually what I, sort of prescribe.
10 minutes, 4 times a day, addressing pain. And let's say, for example, you're having back pain, you could put it under there, but still do some stretching if you wanted to. I've got to multitask, so I'm got to ask you, right?
There it is. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
Okay.
brilliant. That's
Yeah.
brilliant.
Cool. So what is the difference between what your device, the Lumaflex, and what I have right now in the terms of a sauna blanket, which I know from my understanding is described as infrared. And I originally got it, definitely to test it out for pain management, but also to sweat, for autoimmune, type related things. So what is the difference between that and the Lumaflex? Like, tell me a little
I
bit.
mean, if you know the nanometers and it's infrared, it's still a fantastic device. You would lay it
Okay.
down. I mean, it means that you have basically your body, you have more surface area, right? So there's more mitochondria, there's more happy mitochondria, you could say, at one time, which is great. And if you were to, can you tell me what the blanket is? Because I have a good friend of mine
Mhm.
who has a Lumaflex, but he wants a blanket as well. He wants more
Sure.
products. And I told him what products, like I'm sort of shopping around finding to, give him some good advice on it. But it just means more surface area. Like if you
Yeah.
have a device in your bag, use on the go, you're taking it on a plane or whichever, but then you want to upgrade, you could get, there's beds, the blanket like you've got, right? There's there are devices. There's like the energy lounger, which is kind of like a chair bed. It's very, very comfortable to sit on. You can, use it while, you're watching TV. There's so many great, the saunas, infrared saunas. One of my friends just got one installed in her house in Australia. I was like,
Nice.
what? That is
Yeah.
so cool. What else are you getting? Like it's like something that she's wanted to get for so long, but she's, just installed it. It's so there's lots of other devices. Like everyone, if you're able to get more devices that do red and infrared, your life is only going to get better. You're only going to feel great, right? And that's what it's all about. It's all about like, improving your overall well-being. It's optimizing you as a human, from when you wake up to when you sleep, right? You're happy mentally, physically, emotionally, spiritually, you're happy, right? And
Right.
and also this, of course, is going to be benefiting the people around you, right? If you're, you'd be surprised what a happy person you are on a cellular level, how it can affect everybody else around you,
Yeah.
that they're like, oh, you're a really nice person now.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And so, like, it sounds like your device then would emanate heat, just like the sauna blanket. So there is an element with the light.
There's no heat. This one has no
Okay.
heat. There is the LEDs, because it's a tool, it does heat up a little bit because it's being
Okay.
used, right? But
Okay.
it doesn't get any hotter than it's only very, very little heat, because so other than that, yeah, and it can be in an ice bath as well. Like you can do this while you are doing ice bath. So actually,
Okay.
like there's no heat from there. So yeah,
Okay.
it's pure
Pure
light.
light. That's awesome.
Heat,
And there's so
heat
many. Yeah.
is good too. Like you can have devices that give a heat component as well, and that's fine. It's an additional. I don't like to mix heat, like at least too much heat, like sauna heat. If I do a sauna, usually I just want the infrared. I don't want the heat as well. I don't like to put them together. I like to separate them.
Hmm.
But you can have them both.
Okay. And so the one other thing that comes to mind that I'm curious about is what about the EMF levels? And kind of maybe even explain what that means if some people may not understand that. Is it safe? Because of EMFs now are there's a lot of awareness coming out there from everything. We're
Yeah,
inundated.
yeah.
Yeah.
That's right. EMF, like it's something you always have to watch out for. Grounding mats are really, it's something that I'm launching a new product. There's the Lumaflex Body Pro, and then there's going to be the Lumaflex Essential. The Essential, exactly the same, except it's not waterproof. The battery doesn't detach, and it's not Bluetooth connected. But part of the concept of the Essential Lumaflex, I actually have, I think I've got here we go. Here's one. Yeah, this is the Essential. So it's basically the same, except it's cheaper. Now, I'm going to be, launching a package later next year, where you would also be getting a grounding mat with the Essential. And this is this is obviously to help for these EMFs. So ground, if you're able to ground, you can fix a lot of the problems that are caused with these bad, with tension that's built up, electric negative, you could call it negative electric energy, you could say, right? And when you get it from
Mhm.
our phones, right, we get it from Wi-Fi. But where, if a lot of people that really get angry about it, usually I say, like, if the worst thing is your phone. Like, if you have your phone's pretty much the worst one, the worst one, or Wi-Fi. If you've got a very, very strong Wi-Fi, like say you're inside a commercial building that's, the whole building is serviced with Wi-Fi, or if you're like in a Tesla car, you could say. But devices like this, the amount of EMF that it emits is not on the same amount as you would get like just from your actual phone that's inside your pocket. But it is something that is very, very that I'm very, very aware of, and I'm hyper focused on, because it is something, when we're creating products in the future now, we do need to be considerate of this. We need to be thinking about it, because my best solution is to educate people on grounding, getting grounded. Like, can you give out grounding mats, or are you able to get up and walk out outside and get your feet onto the ground, and educating people the importance of doing that. But grounding mats is something that I want to add as a component. But yeah, I'm doing my best to kind of educate people about like the good light coming in, but also the exhaust. We could call it the exhaust of your battery. Your mitochondria is like a battery, and you got the good light coming in, but also that battery also has an exhaust, like from a car. So that exhaust is grounding. You need to get grounded.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, really great point that you brought up there. I like that you're aware of this and you want to educate your audience on this, and keep them informed about it, because it's, if you look at the average person with their phone that isn't getting grounded, that is full of Wi-Fi, and they're not wearing like even blue light blockers, and they're just, you can start to understand why, the younger generation in the world right now, they're riddled with mental issues and anxiety, and there's depression, from kids at 13 years old. And you're like, what's going on here? It's like, well, these kids they're just basically all negative electric energy.
Hmm. Yeah.
They need to be, it's something that that's what biohacking is getting these old traditions from the past, these things that have been tried and proven that have worked, and they're bringing it to the future and trying to educate. So we all being aware of this and being hyper focused on keeping ourselves clean and optimized. We obviously need to communicate that to the friends and family around us. And we see, for me, it's more, I see it with a lot of the kids of my brothers and my sisters, my older brothers and sisters. I see it with their kids. I'm always like, this is we need to help them. We need to get them, get that exhaust out, get that negative energy out. But yeah, I commend you for bringing up such an incredible point like this that is often overlooked, with in the world right now.
Yeah, and I think it just begins with like awareness. I did not really understand EMF until I went to a doctor, a naturopathic doctor, who pointed out that I was holding radiation in my body, and that was most likely due to EMF. And so I became hyper alert and understanding. So we got EMF protectors on all my devices. I'm paranoid now. I've got a router here. And then my kids, like you're talking about, who are doing things like the gaming, they have EMF protectors on their computers right now. And, I know there's a lot of research that still needs to be done, but it gives me a peace of mind that they're giving some level of protection. And then I have a cover for the phone, right? And there's
So good.
actually,
Yes. And
it's
you
just
just pull out
amazing.
the Wi-Fi, right? You could, before you
Yeah.
go to bed, you just
You can
detach, right?
you can shut everything down at night so that you don't get that. So, because to me, there's like power in just knowing that. But the whole point is, like, it sounds like there's not much in the infrared, like the blankets or the Lumaflex or things like that, compared to what we're really getting affected by is the 5G, right?
Yes.
The
Yeah.
Wi-Fi,
Phones,
yeah,
definitely. I would
right.
say next thing is like electric cars. You're sitting on a battery, right? Like,
Yes. You know, That's a great point. And so what
yeah.
you just mentioned, which I think is really a good thing to focus in on, is there's a way to discharge this radiation, the stuff that gets in our bodies, out. And one of the biggest ways is through grounding, which is putting our feet on the earth or a mat, in that. How does that work? I'm just curious. Do you know?
Yeah, I mean, you can even a mat, like you can buy mats about this big, and all you need to do is put your pinky on. You literally just need to touch it. That's the
Yeah.
magic about it. Like it feels, I think people do feel better when they go and they find a place that is like there's no concrete, there's no like astroturf or anything, but they actually put their feet down. Like the beach is the best. The beach is the best. The beach is like the best place to get grounded. Um, but these grounding mats, you can plug them in and you can actually sleep on it, and it really helps with providing great sleep. But that is these little grounding mats. I love them so much, and I wanted to. It's something so simple. It's like, God, this is such a simple thing,
Yeah.
but yet it is such. It can be such a support, because you with the condition that you just mentioned, right? And having this net, people don't realize it that it's such a key piece to have with you. You're in your little toolbox, right, of your tips and tricks for human optimization. It's actually a very, very key thing. So, having a Lumaflex and getting a little grounding mat free is something that, I also wanted to add, some very key minerals, and some supplements that help optimize your intake of red light therapy, because a huge amount of the world's population is actually very, very dehydrated. Like
Mhm.
water is something that is like people are not drinking enough. So those are
Yeah.
some other little goodies that I want to have in the essential packet, next year. But the EMF, and the dangers of this is something that it is talked about in the biohacking world, and
Yeah.
the optimize they're all talking about, but I don't think regular people, they're, what do you mean grounded? I just gotta take, they don't see how they're like, you're right, I don't ever touch the ground. And that ground, I was designed as a human being, like God made me in a certain way, not to wear shoes. It doesn't make sense that I should be. It does slowly start to tick over, and people start to see the value of, yeah, just go and walk with no shoes and find some you know I in all my business trips, I was recently in Las Vegas for the A4M medical conference, and I wanted wanted to do my morning stretching. I wake up, I run, watch the sunrise, and I'm just running looking for a grass patch to get my grounding in. And it was so funny. I was just looking around and I see this little grass patch, and I'm looking, I'm like, okay, this is great. And up in the hotel, my wife, she saw me and she started filming me, and she was like, what is he doing? She posted this video of me like touching and doing my stretching on this little tiny, grass patch. But yeah,
Yeah.
it's something that I really, really, it's important to do. And everybody listening, yeah, get grounded every day, get grounded,
Right.
feel the earth on your feet. And yes, it is electricity. It's not really rocket science. You can just literally put your pinky on the grounding mat, and yes, you will be discharged, you could say. But it really does feel good to get your feet on the ground. You would, again, it's something that, like watching the sunrise, it's something that is so simple, but also, can really benefit your life.
Yeah, I mean, just listening to you talk, I'm ready to take these shoes off and get my socks off right now. All right.
Yeah.
Let's do it. Let's ground.
That's it.
And what a handy tool for somebody that is working all the time around technology and things like that, where they can discharge with a mat if they can't get outside, or, ultimately get outside, but they can get rid of some of this junk that's in them. You know,
Yes,
that's
yes,
beautiful.
exactly.
Yay. Wait, this is, I mean, John, thank you so much for coming on. You are a wealth of knowledge. There's just so much that you've shared, so much value that you provided today. And for those of you listening, I want you to know that I am including in this episode the link about John's work, his product, the Lumaflex. Will be in this episode, and you can reach out to this website, the link there, to find out more about him and about the Lumaflex. And is there anything else you want to add?
Oh, just words of appreciation to you for like giving me, the opportunity to share on your platform.
Yeah.
It really, really means a lot, not just to me, but for the entire team. We're all like, this is, it is a passion company, right? It's something that
Mhm.
was kind of came about from me and my background, and everybody that is all, they're all, they've seen the light, you could say. They're all very
Mhm.
passionate about sharing the light. And it obviously means a lot to everybody when we're able to get the word out and people bring us on, and showcase us or talk about us or endorse us in any way, shape, or form. It really, really means a lot.
Awesome. And I love that. And I can tell that you're coming from a place of passion and that resonates, and that's awesome. And I think that there's so much good that can come out of that. And people listening today, now you're aware of another tool that could be extremely helpful for you. And remember, we do new episodes every week on Wednesday, and I look forward to having you join me then.